Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a really crucial technique for anyone building with Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG, and that is metadata filtering.
So, if you're an AI builder, this probably sounds familiar, right? Your vector search is returning irrelevant results, it's taking way too long, or maybe even worse, it's showing data that it absolutely shouldn't.
Well, there's a really elegant and powerful way to solve these problems. It's all about adding a structured, logical search right on top of your vector search. Okay, so let's really get into this. A basic vector search, it's kind of like searching a super messy library that doesn't have a catalog. You might find some books on the right topic, sure, but you're probably not going to find that specific edition you actually need.
And that is exactly where metadata filtering comes in. It is the catalog for that messy library. It lets you give your search engine really precise instructions, like a call number, an author, a publication year, to narrow down the results before the vector search even kicks off.
So, what does this actually get you in the real world? Well, the results are pretty impressive, and they happen right away.
First up, precision. Just by searching within a more relevant chunk of your data, you can see a 20 to 40% improvement in how accurate your results are. That's huge. And check this out. The performance gain is just as big. A smaller search space naturally means faster queries. We're talking up to 50% faster. That's a massive difference.
But it's not just about raw performance. Filtering is absolutely critical for things like making sure you get the most recent info, for handling security and compliance, and honestly, it's a must-have for any kind of multi-tenant system.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? Let's get into the toolkit. The good news is most vector databases already support a really powerful set of filter types you can start using right away.
So the most basic one is the equality filter. Super simple, right? It just finds exact matches. You could say, show me documents where the category is either policy or procedure.
Then you've got range filters. These let you search within certain boundaries, which is perfect for finding documents within, say, a specific date range or maybe with a certain number of pages. Okay, but here's where it gets really powerful. When you start combining these things, you can check if certain fields even exist, match specific text inside of tags, and then build out some pretty complex logic with and or operators. All right, so this next point is absolutely crucial. It's not just about what you filter, but when you do the filtering. And this brings us to a key strategic choice you have to make. So you have two main options. You can pre-filter, which means you narrow down the search space before the vector search even happens, or you can post-filter, which means you search everything first and then filter the results you get back. Now look, while post-filtering might sometimes find you a few more results, pre-filtering is almost always the way to go. And why is that? Because it is just dramatically faster and way more efficient.
Okay, so now that we have the basics down, let's see how these tools can power some truly sophisticated enterprise-level applications.
One of the most powerful use cases for sure is access control. You can dynamically build a filter based on a user-specific permissions. This is what ensures they only ever see the documents they're actually authorized to view. It's a game changer for security.
And we can take this even a step further with something called dynamic filtering. This is where you actually use a large language model to intelligently create a filter for you right on the fly.
So a simple query, just in plain English, like, show me recent API documentation from the compliance team, can be automatically turned into a really structured, multi-part filter. It's awesome. It combines the best of both worlds, natural language and structured search.
Okay, these advanced techniques are incredibly powerful, but, and this is a big but, for any of this to work at scale, performance is absolutely critical. Just having the metadata isn't enough. You've got to index it properly. The big goal here is something called high filter selectivity. And all that really means is that your filter narrows the search down to a really small percentage of your total documents. Ideally, you want to be in that 5 to 10% range for maximum speed. So, for all you builders out there, here's the crucial takeaway. It's like a checklist. First, design your schema with filtering in mind from the start. Then, make sure you index those fields in your vector database. Always use pre-filtering in your queries. And finally, keep an eye on your filter selectivity to make sure everything's running efficiently. When you put it all together, metadata filtering is what transforms your RAG application from just a simple prototype into a precise, fast, and secure system that's actually ready for the real world.
So, mastering filtering gets you to the right information. But how can you be sure your AI's answer is actually faithful to that information? We'll dig into that next time when we cover the concept of groundedness.